Hello. So you may notice I'm in the exact same setup as my last week's video. That's because when I release this, I'll currently be on holiday in Turkey. Yay! And so yeah, I also love wearing blue when I'm doing these videos because it helps me to channel more effectively. So this video is kind of just talking about clairs. It's talking about the psychic senses, and it's kind of addressing one of the things I see a lot in clients, which is, why am I not, further ahead in my channeling abilities? Why am I not further ahead with my psychic senses? Why are my clairs not opening, etc., etc., etc.? And my guides were like, you need to do a video on this. So kind of where to start, I think, is it's really hard when we're not in a place of acceptance to unlock anything. When you're in a state of resistance, you will, sorry, there's a being tickling my nose. When I feel like mediumship stuff, it's like I feel it right in my septum. So when you're not in a place of acceptance, when you're in a place of resistance, it's really hard for anything to unlock in your life, and especially things which are related to the subtle realms. Psychic intuition, it's all to do with those feminine recesses, it's all to do with receptivity, it's all to do with softness and flowing. And of course there is the masculine impulse plays its role in terms of how do you interpret the sort of psychic insights that you're receiving. But when it comes to receiving, it's all about the feminine. That's down to our biology as women. You see that aspect, the kind of externalized reflection of the feminine shows that we are receivers. We are not givers in that sense. And so when you look at that from an energetic perspective, it's the same thing. We are the receivers, we are the chalice, the masculine is the sword. And so it's really important to just be able to settle into those flow states. And I know how hard it can be to do that, because we're in a world which has for a very, very long time venerated the masculine, has venerated go, 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 push, 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 that kind of energy. You can't do that with psychic stuff. Look, Black Ops projects, things like that, where there's been all these kind of forceful means of extracting psychic information, which various governments have used, etc. That's a whole other video. But yes, you can force your way, but you will only have access to lower level psychic information if you force it. You will not receive from the higher realms, and I just don't recommend trying to force it. It's likely not gonna work anyway. And so I always recommend coming into softness, coming into fluidity, coming into a space of receptivity. And the clairs are very, very interesting, the ways in which they work. They're all related to our own senses. So you already have them because you can already see, hear, smell, taste. You can already do all of those things, likely, unless you have some sort of thing which for some reason you are not able to see or hear, etc. But for the majority of people they are. And also claircognizance, which is like your inner knowing. Everybody has inner knowing. If you want to wear that outfit today or that other outfit another day, you have inner knowing. It's just it comes so naturally to us that we don't often realize that that's what we're doing. And so when you become more attuned to the subtle realms, you'll be able to go, oh, that was my claircognizance, or that was my clairvoyance, your clear seeing, things like that. And I think the kind of message around this video as well is like accepting that you are where you are for a reason. If we have chosen, our higher self has chosen to unlock a certain part or a certain pathway within our consciousness that gives us access to those higher receptivities, then there is a reason for that. There is a lesson behind that. And if it hasn't unlocked yet, there's also a reason. It means that for some reason you're not ready, you know? And I know that can be a really, really hard thing to accept. And, you know, I have an example of when I started to unlock. I mean, I'd always been, you know, this is the thing, it's like, I'd always been clairaudient. I just didn't realize that I was, but I was going through a sort of up-leveling, I would say, when I was around 19, 20, and every time I would go to bed, it was like a radio was playing in my head, and I could hear all of these different voices. It was like, and then the radio would like switch, and it would be all of a sudden a party, and I would be like, you know, because my clairaudience was like blast, you know, the volume of my clairaudience was turned right up. And what was actually happening, I know now, is that I was undergoing an initiation with my clairaudience, and I would have things like I had one particular incident where I was with two friends in my house, and we were talking and, you know, whatever, having conversation, and they both left, and one was walking the other to the bus stop, and I could hear their whole conversation about me. And my friend came back from escorting our other friend to the bus stop, and I was like, so you just said X, Y, and Z, and I said it word for word, and he was like, and he couldn't deny it because he was so freaked out, as in like, how did you hear that? And I was like, I knew that's exactly what you were saying. And so that for me was like, and that would happen a lot, is like I could literally hear people talking about me. And, you know, the thing is that the initiation I was undergoing was like, okay, what is real and what is paranoia? Because there were times when, yes, I was absolutely right, that's exactly what was getting said about me. There are other times where it was like, no, that is completely my own projection. And so that was very much the initiation that I was going through, although I didn't exactly realize it at the time. But that was the exact initiation I was going through, was like, okay, this is actually you tuning in, and then this is just projection, you know. And that's something that all psychics, all people have to go, you know, we all have to go through that in our lives, various different initiations related to that. Is this, you know, what I'm projecting actually, you know, happening in some regard, or is this like fully, you know, me projecting my own pain or that sort of thing? And so, you know, it's also about boundaries. It's like, well, is it useful for me to hear when people are talking about me? Probably not. I don't actually want to know, you know, at this point in my life, I don't want to know when people are talking about me. I don't care, you know. So now I have much firmer boundaries around that. I'm like, look, I want to hear something if it's important. I want to hear something if it's going to be of assistance to me. I don't want to hear about people dying unless there's something I can like do about it. I don't want to hear about things which are, you know, potentially going to like heavily traumatize me, you know. And I think that's the thing about being psychic as well, is just like, you know, sometimes I do hear things that I don't want to know, you know, and it doesn't matter how strong your boundaries are. Sometimes things slip through those cracks, and that's just part of life. That's, you know, it's like when you have boundaries in the material world, you know, with certain people, sometimes they're flexible, and it's the same with spirit. I might have boundaries like, well, I don't want to, you know, when I'm on the toilet or I'm in my bed, I don't want spirits coming and talking to me. You know, I have office hours, but sometimes things might slip through the cracks. And so you know, it's really about like discernment, you know, with your boundaries, what it is you actually want to experience. And, you know, there's things like, you know, I was talking in my last video about walk-ins, you know, it's like when people say they really want to open up, it's like, are you ready to sit across from people, sometimes people that you really love, and see all these different beings working through them, or see how they're, you know, severely attached to certain things? Because it can be, you know, you can have emotional responses to that, and often we think we're ready for things we're maybe not quite there with, because it can be a lot. It's a lot to hold being very psychically in tuned. It just is. And so it can take time. There's reasons why it can take time to unlock certain things, and it's just about trusting that when it unlocks, it's the exact right time. And you know, a lot of people talk to me as well about, you know, is there certain exercises I should be doing? All of that's great, you know, certain visualizations, guided meditations, all of that stuff is wonderful. However, you can unlock your psychic capabilities without all of that stuff. You just have to be working on your stuff. You have to be working on your layers, you know, just peeling back those layers. That's truly how you unlock your psychic gifts, is because they're already within you. They're already there. You just have built up all of these walls. And sometimes I think when we take our focus off that thing, you know, of that, oh, you know, if I could only, you know, intuit further, if I could only see further, then everything would be okay. You know, it's that deferred gratification, you know, of just going, okay, well, I accept that this thing isn't opening up for me right now. I'm going to focus on, you know, maybe this other stuff that's going on with me. I'm going to take a look at some inner child work. I'm going to take a look at some more ancestral healings. You know, you'd be surprised as well how many people's gifts have been shut down from various ancestors, you know, and then they start doing that deep ancestral work, and all of a sudden you get a new activation to your clairvoyance. All of a sudden, you know, your heart space expands, and your clairvoyant and your claircognizance, your inner knowing opens up even more. You know, I've done things like connected with different ancestors from different lifetimes. I've connected with different aspects of myself. I have a Maori aspect of self from a past life, and when I connected with her, whoa, my clair audience turned up even more, you know. So, and that was just through a process of doing healing related to the womb, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh hi, this other aspect of me, and oh look, she's bringing through this activation for me, for my clair audience. So, you know, it's just about, you'd be surprised when you go to those places that you don't want to go. I think people often, we see it as an escape, having these psychic gifts. We can see it as an escape. It's not an escape, it's reality. And actually it brings you home to reality even more, because all it is being able to perceive the truth of reality further. That's what being a psychic is being able to perceive truth very, very clearly. And so when you avoid certain things in your life, you're literally saying to yourself, I don't want to unlock, you know, but all the time you're thinking of this thing as like this escape and this thing which is gonna like, you know, open things up for you further. But go to those places that you don't want to go, and that is where you're gonna deepen your understanding of self and automatically unlock things further. That place where you've got resistance to, whether it's with your diet and the foods that you're eating, whether it's with exercise, you know, my guides always say to me, we're bringing the body on board. We're going nowhere, you know, without bringing our body with us, you know. And I know that it's hard because we can hold so much trauma within our bodies. And so it's just really important to focus on that and to be aware of when we are running from things, when we're running from things within ourselves. So yeah, I think that's basically the message of the video, is like, where are you resisting looking at certain things? Because when you look in that place, you're gonna find, you know, all of those things out, those sort of abstractions that we use as an escape, you know, those things that we think we want and we're focusing on getting them. Actually, where we find them is in the place where we're refusing to look. So I hope that makes sense. It sounds really abstract when I'm describing it, but I hope it makes sense. It's like this big circle, you know. It's like you're running from this point, but actually that's That's exactly where you need to go to get the things that you want and to get the things that you desire, but you think they're over there, you know, and you're focusing on them over there, but they're actually behind you in that place you're refusing to look. So yeah. And yeah, just as well, just, you know, talking about sort of diet and eating foods that are filled with light, you know, that's how you you activate that light body, is through those foods that are filled with light. Fruits, vegetables, you know, particularly fruit cleanses. Do a fruit cleanse for a day, you know, see how that shifts your ability to read the subtle realms. I mean, for me, fasting, fruit cleansing, it's like I become so sensitive, you know, when I'm, my diet is like primarily fruit. It's like, you just become so much more in tune with things. So I always, you know, I know it's a lot if you're coming from eating like a sort of standard American diet or whatever it is, going straight to fruit. Yeah, that's obviously going to be, you know, it's always about softness, subtlety, just gradually allowing yourself to do things. Maybe just start eating more fruit for a while, and then, you know, you can think about doing like a fruit cleanse or juice cleanse, that sort of thing. So yeah, so thank you so much for watching this, and take care.